I know what you're wondering. I announced on Instagram that the second episode is dedicated to the Terrier, but because of a lack of a modern DCC controller, that would be postponed. And, in its place, we have this.
Letters of joy from the girl and the boy, receipted bills and invitations to inspect new stock or visit relations, and applications for situations, and timid lovers' declarations, and gossip from all the nations. News circumstantial, news financial, letters with holiday snaps to enlarge in, letters with faces scrawled in the margin, letters from uncles, cousins and aunts, letters to Scotland from the south of France, letters of condolence to Highlands and Lowlands, notes from overseas to Hebrides, written on paper of every hue, the pink, the violet, the white and the blue, the chatty, the catty, the boring, adoring, the cold and official, all the hearts outpouring, clever, stupid, short and long, the typed and the printed, the spelled all wrong.
Scots Guardsman, the infamous royal Scot that starred in the film Nightmare and later saw itself rebuilt in the 1940s to the engine we're familiar with today. This former Fowler machine rebuilt by Ivor to Stanley's design deserves attention due to it being a movie star and how it had last laughed at those rebuilds to replace the Scots. It's this we've come to the models. The Scots Gun only has 2 in rebuilt form for 00 gauge. So, let's jump into my model. My model of Scots Gun is an old mainline Palatory, I'm not sure how to say it, but please comment on me. Model from the 1980s, an LMS post-World War II line black. A livery that I personally think looks wrong on a rebuilt Scot, but is authentic as I do like them in crimson and light. Like what King Guardsman Guards of Raw Scott did in the late 2000s, but the rebuilds occurred after 1945, and the crimson late livery didn't get to see much of a return, unlike the other railways that returned to their old green when the LMR A4's case blue. Scots Guardsman was one of those rebuilt with a table boiler and better axles before nationalisation in 48. As usual, we will take a closer look at the locomotive, and like the county in the previous episode, there have been some mods done, including some important park splitting. Despite the era this comes from, plenty of detail has been packed into such a tiny model, something that better connected with the advent of computer-aided design into the manufacturing sector. Rivets are clear to see on the buffer beam and the buffers are well designed. Sadly, like the county, they're not sprung. And I have no intention of replacing the sprung ones as they could cause damage to the model, something I actually already did. On the smoke-off store, the handrails and the door dart were put down in silver paint like the county has once again. And these were toppling express locomotives. A simply fitted handrail is attached to the top of the door, while molded are the number and shipments. This was common on LMS steam locomotives, but this practice was taken up later by British Railways possible steam locomotives. We might run into the engine sometime in this series. The steps on the front are 3D printed and are based on the original that accidentally snapped off. Measurements were taken from a static version of the same class to create accurate placements. Being a Fowler Express engine, you would obviously notice these things. Due to the double chimney being fitted, smoke deflectors or blinkers fitted to lift the exhaust steam out of the driver's vision. Scots Guardsman would have the standard Fowler built when it was built. The receivers designed by Ivor featured grab handles instead of rails. The boiler banding is basic and lacks another colour, much like another locomotive in my collection from a rival company that has appeared in this series. There is plenty of detail on the left-hand side of this locomotive, including the reversing mechanism, which is also picked out in silver paint. Briefly back to the front to explain what this is for. Well, that's part of the cover for the third cylinder. Being built for express use on hilly routes where double heading with 4 rows was common, would need a lot of power from a single locomotive. If you look at all major post-1920 express locomotives in the UK, You notice they have the 3 or 4 cylinders cut out of bowling power. Nameplates are a standard for a mainline model, as this was the 1980s when it came out, so no extra ones. Except for the ejector that runs along the length of the locomotive from the cab to the spot box. Lining along the running board is sharp but roughly up to modern standards, and the banding on the cylinders and boiler is basic, much like the captain. The cab is better than the rest of the engine, as it has fine lining and vivid details with the signature or electric pattern. I tend to use the same story used to that. Pretend to want to see the tension like the last time. The cab windows were a mix of clear plastic and the side windows and deluxe materials glue and glaze for the front windows. Clear plastic is a pretty cheap way of making large windows and is pretty common among car brands. Windows, but if you want a glue mask, glue and glaze is something I highly recommend, as this is useful for small windows like forward cam windows on locomotives. No detail is there, but like the penalty, it's not painted. Promise a locomotive with painted material will appear in the next episode. You hear that? That is the one problem this model has, and I can do nothing to solve it. Scots Guardsman is quite a noisy ride due to its edge, and no matter how much oil I put onto the motion, I don't recommend over-oiling a locomotive, as it could cause some electrical issues with the model, which I never do. Upon hearing and reading about what happens when you do, it won't go away. Away from her being noisy, she is a smooth runner at regular operating speeds, but less so and sometimes a bit jerky or cuts out at slow speeds. This is due to the age of the mechanism, and as mentioned before, this model is fitted with a split chassis, meaning one side of the metal chassis is touching the motor to complete the circuit. If you study electronics, this will make sense, as this is how electrical circuits work. In this case, the load is the motor and the wires are represented by the track and the sides of the chassis. So, the final thoughts on main lines with Scots. There is a lot to say about this 1980s model in a negative light, such as the split chassis and the jerky running, but the rebuilt Scott is a must for collectors of older models, especially mainline color toy. I would have purchased a Hornby one, but that's not something my wallet can handle. So, I can leave this video on a positive message. Would I buy a Hornby rebuilt Scott in the end? Yes, so this one can't be harmed. I hate split chassis models, but I love this one. If you made it this far, then congratulations on making it this far. I know it's been over a month since my last video, but I took the time to prepare for this one in a better quality. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one. Hopefully a tank engine gets its time to shine. Bye for now.